So guys, very quickly, let me bring you up to speed with how Raila Odinga, the man, has been a student of history and how he is using the element of history for his favor and how he is walking in the footsteps of political history to his own advantage. In order for me to be able to talk that, I'll have to quickly give you synonyms in the African context. So I'll have to tell you about guys like Kizza Besigye, who've been the face of opposition politics in Uganda, played in a certain way. It didn't work for him. He's like out of the picture, most likely retired. The new face of opposition is now Bobi Wine in Uganda. I'll have to tell you something about Zimbabwe, where the face of opposition was Morgan Tsvangirai. He fought his best, put in his best, went one election to another. It ended up the way it ended. He ended up kicking the bucket, died before he realized that the new face of opposition today is now Chamisa. You know, like the next generation kind of politics. Now, in order for you to be able to understand where Raila Odinga is coming from and how he is the best student of politics, he has learned from the very best. And who is the very best? The very best of political history in Africa is one Madiba Nelson Mandela. This is the guy who paid dearly, who was the face of the ANC, was the face of the revolution and the fight and the quest for freedom and emancipation from the apartheid rule, which was the white minority rule. Nelson Mandela, incarcerated in prison, for 27 years. Some guys are not even that age yet, but the guy was there. 27 years of imprisonment, and he has to make the hard decision. He's being called a terrorist, he's being branded all manner of names, deprived. He has told his stories of incarceration, but he gets to a point when he realizes that all these great ideas and thoughts that he has behind bars mean that he might actually just die behind bars and die with them and just become a piece of history that people read about and talk about and say he was, he could have, he was, and can only imagine what he could have achieved. But Nelson Mandela got to that point and said the only practical path that he sees himself getting himself to the top is to have to bow down and have discussions with Frederick de Klerk, who was the white president at the time, and do some form of agreement, drop and cede some of his grounds and get on the table, discuss and negotiate something that will pave way into a free and open election, where it doesn't matter whether you're black or white, and let's have a majority rule as opposed to a minority rule. Nelson Mandela goes into that election in 1994. I remember where I was at the time. He wins the election and he goes ahead to actualize the ideas that he had. He cements his legacy, becomes the greatest of all time in Africa. He is celebrated around the world. He gets into the great books of history as one of the GOAT in world history. That is what Raila Odinga has done. So I have to quickly tell you how he is a student of Nelson Mandela, and he can only have the end of Nelson Mandela. Raila Odinga, plays opposition politics, is the face of opposition. He's the face of activism. He's the face of human rights. He's the face of anti-corruption. He's the face of fighting the dictatorship. He managed to bring out Moi from power. He has fought Kibaki. He has fought the Uhuru regime. He has literally fought the deep state. He has fought the instruments of power. He has been at war at loggerheads. He's taken the tear gas the most. He's done everything that there is to be done. But bottom line is this: where is Raila Odinga coming from? He was detained for a clean 9 years by Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. This is a guy who has faced the hurdles of political oppression, in the same books with the likes of Kenyatta, the founding president, the likes of Achieng Aneko, Kina Gitobo Imanyara, and many other people. And so after he has taken a stab at 1997, it wasn't a realistic presidential opportunity. 2002, he supports Kibaki. He runs in 2007. He actually arguably won that particular election. We go to 2013, where there were all manner of claims of rigging and all that, but he accepted that particular loss of 8,000 votes. 2017, the Supreme Court agreed with him. He did not participate in the runoff, not in the runoff, but in the repeat election. But whatever the case, you can actually see that he has been at the heart and at the center of political contestation and confrontation in the Kenyan situation. What he has decided to do is to learn from history and take lessons not from Besigye of Zimbabwe, not from Besigye of Uganda, not from Tsvangirai of Zimbabwe, but take lessons from Nelson Mandela of South Africa. And here we are. He has been able to warm up to the other side of the divide, warm up to Uhuru Kenyatta, been able to get into the circles of power. He now runs government, literally. You can argue that because what he he says happens, and all that Uhuru has to do is to agree with him. When he says it and then Uhuru agrees with him, then it happens. He has been able to actually go to central Kenya, to the Mount Kenya, to the Kikuyu homogeny, which is actually the most dominant constituency in political sense, in terms of numbers, in terms of financial muscles and all that, and influence across the country. We have Kikuyu heterogeneously distributed across the country, like literally in every sphere. They command the political mass, they command the economic power base in almost all of the centers and the economic centers of the country. So he manages to warm himself to the Kikuyu elites. It is a vote that is split between him and William Ruto, but the mere fact that he's been able to get half, it is also tried and tested in history that when he was able to split the Mount Kenya, the Kikuyu vote in 2002 and back Kibaki as a theorem and as a strategy of winning, it was proven to work. So Raila Odinga is simply walking in the books of Nelson Mandela, turning down from his opposition and confrontational kind of politics and now bringing on board a politics of seduction. He has managed to keep his mass, his critical mass and constituency and his niche. And he has also warmed up to people who would otherwise oppose him day in, day night. And they have warmed up to him and they're campaigning for him. They're working with him. They are talking about paying debts and they are willing to pay back the debts that he has given to their likes before. That is Raila Odinga for you. He can only be the next Nelson Mandela. Watch this space.